Hey everyone, welcome back to Genai's F1 News. Let's kick things off with the biggest story of the week. According to motorsport.com, Max Verstappen has officially signed a new contract extension with Red Bull that runs all the way through the end of 2030. This is huge because it completely puts to bed months and months of speculation about the four-time champion potentially switching to Mercedes or McLaren. Now, Verstappen's original deal with Red Bull was already set to run through 2028, but there had been serious questions about whether he'd stick around. He's been vocal about his frustrations with the current generation of cars, and he's been exploring opportunities in other motorsports too. But this new deal shows he's genuinely committed to the team's long-term vision, especially with their in-house power unit program coming online. As reported by motorsport.com, former F1 driver Karan Chandok was actually surprised by just how long this contract is, saying it demonstrates real confidence in what Red Bull is building for the future. So yeah, silly season is officially over, folks. Max isn't going anywhere. Now, what makes this extension even more significant is the context around why Max was considering other options. Also, according to motorsport.com, insiders say Verstappen was actually closer to walking away from Formula One entirely than he was to switching to a rival team. Think about that for a second. The guy has 4 world championships, he's at the absolute peak of his career, and yet he was contemplating retirement. That tells you a lot about his frustrations with where the sport has been heading. But here's the interesting part. A former F1 team principal, Otmar Safnauer, recently told the high-performance racing podcast that Max actually hasn't even reached his peak yet. He believes Verstappen is still improving and has more to give. So now that Max is locked in with Red Bull through 2030, we could be in for some incredible performances in the seasons ahead, assuming the team can get their performance back on track. Now let's shift gears and talk about one of the most unexpected stories of the summer break. Yuki Tsunoda is making his F1 comeback this weekend at Zandvoort, and according to motorsport.com, he literally only got the call on Tuesday. The Japanese driver was literally on the beach when he found out he'd be replacing the injured Isack Hadjar at Racing Bulls. Tsunoda's been out of a race seat since the end of last season, so jumping back in for a sprint weekend at one of the most demanding tracks on the calendar is no small feat, but he's determined to make the most of it. In his own words, as reported by motorsport.com, Tsunoda said his goals for this weekend are to have fun and widen his options for 2027. Even though the circumstances are challenging, dealing with jet lag, jumping into a sprint weekend format, and getting minimal practice time, he's using this as an opportunity to prove he's still got what it takes. This is the kind of shot drivers dream about, and Tsunoda's clearly going to give it everything he's got. Speaking of dramatic call-ups, Lawson is also suiting up for Red Bull this weekend, and his story is pretty incredible. According to motorsport.com, Lawson is replacing the injured Isack Hadjar, and here's the poetic part. Zandvoort is exactly where Lawson made his F1 debut back in 2023 when he stepped in for Daniel Ricciardo at AlphaTauri. That 5-race opportunity became the springboard for his full-time F1 career, and now, in a full-circle moment, he's getting another chance at the same venue in a Red Bull car. The New Zealand driver has been waiting for his shot with the Red Bull proper team, and this is that opportunity. So we've got Tsunoda back in the midfield and Lawson elevated to Red Bull. It's shaping up to be a wild weekend for driver shuffles. Now that we're heading into the second half of the season, the silly season is ramping up, but in a surprising way. According to motorsport.com, we've actually seen multiple contract renewals announced in a single week, which might seem like the silly season kicking off, but it's actually the opposite. This is what insiders are calling sensible season, where drivers and teams are securing their futures before the real chaos begins. Max's Red Bull deal obviously headlines this wave, but we've also got Carlos Sainz committing to Williams on a multi-year contract, as reported by motorsport.com. For Sainz, this will be his 3rd season with the Grove team. Meanwhile, Alex Albon has agreed to a 1-year extension with Williams, making it his 6th campaign with the squad. These are the marquee signings we're seeing now, and you can expect a few more contract confirmations before the real driver market madness takes hold. The 2027 grid is starting to come into focus, and it's shaping up to be pretty interesting. On a more personal note, one of the more heartwarming stories to come out of the summer break comes from Mercedes driver George Russell. According to motorsport.com, Russell proposed to his long-term partner Carmen Montero-Munt during the shutdown. The Brit announced the engagement with photos from a romantic beachfront dinner with candlelight. When he appeared in the driver's press conference ahead of the Dutch GP, he was warmly congratulated by the entire paddock. It's nice to see some positive personal news in the paddock, and Russell was clearly in great spirits talking about the proposal and his future plans. Congratulations to George and Carmen. Let's talk about some fresh investment in the paddock. According to Autosport, billionaire Robert Wood Johnson, also known as Woody Johnson, has acquired a minority stake in Aston Martin's Formula One team and joined the board as vice chairman. Johnson is an heir to the Johnson & Johnson pharmaceutical empire. He owns the New York Jets NFL franchise, and he picked up a stake in Premier League club Crystal Palace not long ago. This is a significant investor for Aston Martin as the team continues to develop its new Honda Power Unit partnership and new car designs under Adrian Newey's leadership. So far, Aston Martin has had a bumpy 2026 season with the new generation of cars, but fresh investment and confidence from a major player like Johnson could help accelerate their performance improvements. Over at Cadillac, there's been some significant management shuffling. According to motorsport.com, the team has made a surprising mid-season leadership change, bringing in Marcin Budkowski as the new team principal to replace founding principal Graham Lowdon. Budkowski's task is to accelerate the new team's rate of progress and address some of the structural issues that have held them back in their first season on the grid. Now, this leadership change also comes amid rumors about the team's future. According to Autosport, TWG, the company operating General Motors' F1 entry, has denied rumors of a potential sale of the Cadillac team. These rumors emerged after billionaire Mark Walter, the CEO of TWG, came under investigation by U.S. authorities and recently sold his stake in an NBA team. But TWG is firmly denying that the F1 team is on the market, so expect Cadillac to push forward with their restructured leadership and continue their long-term project.